Welcome, welcome. Hello. We have a celebrity amongst us in our midst, Justin Kinchen. This is so fun for us older folks here who have been here front row, who have been here for such a long time and remember having Justin when he was much younger. And as 8th grade, just to put some perspective, or actually 7th grade too, Justin graduated in 2016 from Sycamore, and you all were in preschool. 7th grade, you were 2 years old. We did make Justin feel a little old by saying that, so. Anyways, thank you for being a great audience today. He has some really amazing things to share, and I will turn it over to Miss O'Malley so she can actually formally introduce Justin. Thanks, thank you.
Welcome, and you are in for such a treat. I know this because on Sunday afternoon, I went with Mrs. Williams and Mrs. Wright, and we went to see Justin in concert at Butler University. And I knew I was in for a great show, and I mean, I knew he was fantastic, but I can't tell you what it was like as a former teacher to get the program, and he is on the front of the program, Limelight, A Conversation in Sound, and then not only that, but when we got to our seats, it turned the pages, and there were 17 compositions or 17 pieces, and Justin Kinchen's name is next to 15 of them. It was wonderful. There is nothing I could say to articulate his talent. So I'm going to read his bio, and then afterwards, in your words in the program, without further ado, after the bio, I will let them enjoy the show. Okay? I do highly recommend Pearl and the one about the souvenirs.
Okay.
It's amazing. Justin Kinchen is a Miami-based violinist, trumpeter, conductor, and composer from Indianapolis. Under the tutelage of Professors Scott Flavin and Brian Lynch, Justin continues to develop his diverse gifts at the Frost School of Music. Through his breadth of experience in both the jazz and classical worlds, he seeks to combine his influences into a unique musical voice present in each of his works. Beginning his violin studies at the age of 4 and trumpet at 9, he has been committed to his lifelong passion ever since. Growing up in Indianapolis, he was a very active member of its prestigious music community. He was a leader in the Indianapolis Youth Orchestra during his decade-long involvement, including concertmaster in his senior year. He was selected performer in the Indianapolis Symphony Orchestra's side-by-side competition for 3 years consecutively. He was selected as a first violinist in the Indiana All-State Orchestra and as a trumpeter in the All-State Honor Band and All-State Jazz Band. A University of Miami, Florida graduate, he has been selected to perform in a range of concerts with world-class talent. He performed in the Melton Mustafa Jazz Festival with his combo and was selected to perform in open rehearsal with Joshua Bell and the Academy of St. Martin in the Fields Orchestra, and performed with Arturo Sandoval for the filming of his HBO documentary. He now pursues a double master's degree as a fellow for the Henry Mancini Institute at the Frost School of Music in violin performance and studio jazz writing. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Justin Kinchen.
Hello, everybody. Before I begin, I'm curious how many musicians are out in the audience? Just raise of hands. Okay. Okay, this is a good turnout. Any violinists? Okay. Any trumpeters? Okay, wow. Okay. And then any pianists? Okay, yeah, there we go. Nice. Okay, so I'm going to do a little playing and a little talking, and then we'll have room for any questions you have specifically about those three, but then I can go broad if you guys need. A couple years back, I learned a piece that I love a lot, and I'm sure you three will know exactly what it is. The Sibelius Violin Concerto. That being said, I haven't played it in a few years, but I'm going to play the intro for you now. Please enjoy. Um, I guess before I go on, there's one little fun passage I kind of want to play. I won't play the whole thing, but I'm curious if I still have it. No, that's okay. We'll get it next time. Um, Anyways, so as you may have heard, I'm a violinist, I'm a trumpeter, and I'm a composer. And so Sunday, I got a chance to do all three of those things at once with this show that I've been working on for a long time. Basically, I wrote 2 albums over the past couple of years, and then in the past couple of months, I took my time and I orchestrated them out fully for a full orchestra plus a jazz combo, so it sort of blends the 2 worlds together. And so I have a couple of them that I'll play for you briefly, just like studio versions. And then if you're interested in the full versions, I have recordings from the show. But this is one that I wrote for my mom, I called Pearl. In the full version, I'll show you a clip. It's with saxophone, drums, bass, guitar, and then piano. But this is how it goes. So that's the intro, and then I'll go on to the full piece. I'll show you the clip. I think it's better than just playing it. Let me see. Oh, that's where it is. That's where it is. Don't even worry. Never mind. It's not loading. Anyway, I'll go into the talk. This is where we're going to go right into. So, what I prepared for you is a little talk about how I have progressed through music. A lot of this goes over where I was when I was in your shoes, I guess a long time ago now. And a lot of the different lessons I've learned along the way. Hopefully, you can learn from a lot of my mistakes. And if that helps you, then you'll be able to far surpass me in the next couple of years. And then I'll be out of a job. So, first things first, I am currently 23 years old. So that's ancient compared to you guys. I'm at school at the University of Miami. This will be my 5th year. I'll end up doing 7 there, and then hopefully I'll go out to California and do 1 year at USC and just write for movies. In collaboration, I've done a lot of work with a couple of different artists that you've seen, some that you haven't. A lot of my friends were the ones who came up, but some of them are doing big things. For violinists, if you guys know Maya Kilburn, that's one of my friends. Other than that, I have a couple albums that I've released with one of my other producer friends, John Parra, out in California. We've gotten a couple million streams on those now. And then accomplishment-wise, I've been doing a lot of writing in a couple concertmaster positions with the Frost Symphony Orchestra, the Henry Mancini Orchestra, and then I've been able to work a lot, which you'll see later, with the multi-Grammy Award-winning Maria Schneider, who's our composer in residence here. at the Frost School, and so I was able to orchestrate one of her full pieces out with Scott Robinson and her to perform in Miami. So a lot of cool stuff so far, and I hope a lot more to come. This is why I'm in town. Sunday, as we said, I did a big show that I've been working for a little bit, and it was very cool to see it all come to fruition. It was my first time really singing on a stage. And I did it for a couple of numbers, since Miss Bruckman, actually, but that was the last time I was really singing. And then a lot of conducting, a lot of writing. Here's a clip from one of the arrangements I wrote on a Herbie Hancock tune called Main Voyage. And this is one of the ones I'm most proud of from the show. So, now we go back to when I was 4. This is when I first started violin. I remember asking my parents for one just because I thought it sounded so beautiful, and I wanted to be able to have a chance to make some of that sound myself. So as a little early birthday present, they got me lessons, and then I began studying with Kathy Hirschberger in the Suzuki method, if any of you guys are learning in that. That's a very real reaction. So yeah, this is in one of the classrooms here. And then this is also right on the playground. It looks a little bit different for you guys now, but this is what I grew up running out on. So the Suzuki method was, it's a very famous violin pedagogy method that's used all around the world. And most young violin players and cello players will all start with this sort of lesson structure. But lessons can only do so much because normally that's only going to be about 30 minutes to an hour of your week. So what really matters is how you use your practice time. The hardest thing, I think, at that age and at your age might be the ability to concentrate on what you're doing because your brain is going to be everywhere. One person that really helped a lot with that, aside from my mom, was my dad. I knew at my lessons I was a very excited child, so he would come in and just make sure we stayed right on track at all of those. But during this time, there were 3 main things, and if you can implement them into your work now, they will vastly help you in the future. First thing is consistency. If you're not, one day of practicing like 20 hours is not anywhere as good as practicing 20 minutes every day for a month. If you're able to stay on top of it, you'll see a lot more improvement and a lot better time, and it's also a good practice for applying to the rest of your skills. I know when I was here, I had homework every night. I was in soccer, I was in basketball, I was in cross country. As long as you're thinking about, oh, I have 20 minutes right now, let me see what I can get done, that'll be good. A little life hack from myself, if you can see your instrument at all times, if you can see it, you'll practice a lot more. If you have to, the case is just a small obstacle, but it actually does a lot mentally that you just aren't expecting. So if you see your instrument, you're going to be a lot more excited to practice every day. Number 2, and this one is one that still haunts me, scale work. Take it from a person who still is in college working on a lot of scales. You need to do them every day. And it's easier when you learn them when you're young. Because once you do, then you're in a lot better position. Scales show up in pretty much every single piece of repertoire that you're going to play throughout your life. And it also just fixes a lot of the different technique stuff that you're going to have to fix. Then, number 3, use your eyes and your ears. So I spend a lot of time depending on my ears. I have a very good sense of pitch. I have perfect pitch. I have great relative pitch. I can play pretty much any song you sing to me. Actually, the cool part was during writing the piece for Maria Schneider, it was over on a winter break. I was listening to the full version that she sent when I was orchestrating it, and I had to pick out what instrument is playing what. I had to know, oh, this is somebody clapping their hands, and I had to write down all that rhythm inside of a full symphony. So being able to use your ears is great, but you need to know how to read music. I grew up doing flashcards with my dad every night, showing all the ledger lines to make sure that I actually knew what was going on in the pieces. So if you have any ledger line flashcards, if you have any sheet music that you can practice sight reading every now and then, it will be very helpful for you in the long run. Now, I can sight read full symphonies. I probably should be practicing more before the sessions, but I still can sight read full symphonies because I do it every 2 weeks for our new orchestra cycles. Okay, now in Sycamore, we didn't have a string program when I first came here, so we did the process I think you guys have all done, where you go in and you see what instrument feels best for you and you start playing it. I was picking between the French horn and the trumpet, and I knew that I did not want to play jazz on the French horn. So this is when it started. This is actually this exact same stage, I think. So this is when it all started. I would come in the mornings right after I finished practicing my violin, and I'd go to the practice room right in the band room and just start working on my fundamentals. It's a lot of labor of love, to be quite honest, but it does pay a lot of dividends. There were a lot of different groups that really helped me on the way up, and a lot of them are still active, and you can audition for them, and you can still, and some of you are probably already competing in some of them. So one of the big ones was ISMA for me. I know the band's getting ready for their performance at the band version. This was very good because oftentimes in music, the goal is so ambiguous. Like it's a lifelong thing, so you don't know where the finish line is. Having measurable goals and things that you can achieve are very helpful in order to know I'm getting better. I would constantly look forward to going to ISMA and seeing the shiny little medals, but one of the things that helped me most was getting one of the red ones, and you guys will know that that's a silver medal. I used to coast, and I used to be happy. I was like, oh, I'm doing so well in this music stuff. And then I got a silver medal, and I was like, I'm not doing so well in this music stuff. If you can get a little loss, a little failure, it will set you on a much further place than if you get a lot of wins. So lose every now and then, and I promise it'll be more fun. Number 2 would be IYO. Back when I first joined, it was the New World Youth Orchestra, and then during my senior year, they changed to be the Indianapolis Youth Orchestra, and they take a lot of students from all around the city. I started when I was, I think, 8, and then I ended when I was 18, so you can all audition, and I highly recommend it because you'll get a lot better, and the cool thing is you're surrounded by a bunch of people who are just like you, all your age or older, but they're all learning together. That's the same thing that happened in all-state band and all-state orchestra. I hadn't felt a certain sense of community in music until I had those. Because there's no more, oh, this person's better than me, this person's not. Everybody auditioned, we all placed in. So now it's all just about having fun making the music together. Side by side, that's gonna be a couple years later. It'll be in your high school years. But that's when you play with the Indianapolis Symphony Orchestra, like all the professional musicians. If you get in, it's you, and then a professional, you, professional, you, professional. And it's a couple weeks where you're just doing real symphony repertoire with real professionals. And then you can finally hear what professional music sounds like, because sometimes the band room can fool you a little bit more, because you're not playing with 40-year-olds and 70-year-olds who've been doing this their entire lives. For trumpet, one of the biggest things that happened, and I've reconfirmed this with my first teacher, Mr. Kluninger, I was not the best starting out. I was probably third to last. I could barely get a sound out of the mouthpiece properly compared to the other students when we went down the line. My range was terrible, and my embouchure is still a little bit weird. But that was just the starting point. And you can go from the worst musician possible, and you can still make it to being the top. All that really takes, like I said, is that consistency. So with my dad, we would wake up very, very early in the mornings before Sycamore. We would start, well, he would wake me up about like 5:45, 5:50. We'd go downstairs, and then we'd stand in front of the window, start practicing for the day until it was time to go to school. Then when I was at school, before the first 30 minutes as classes started, I would go to the band room, practice my trumpet, then we go to school, then we finish school, then we do the homework, then we do the whatever sport of the season is, and then we'd practice a little bit more, and then we'd go to bed and rinse and repeat. So with a little dedication and a lot of dedication, you too can be a musician. Now the best way to practice is in small sections, because especially for the band players, you know that your lips get tired pretty fast and your time is very limited because everybody here at Sycamore has a lot of homework. So if you're able to just do 20 minutes and you have, hey, this scale isn't sounding right, you can go back and just work on that scale, and then by the end of your 20 minutes, you've accomplished something. And the next day you brush up on it and you're like, oh wow, I'm a master of this now. Number 2, this is a big one for all of the instrumentalists. Long tones are the key. This will get you the most bang for your buck out of anything. It will raise your endurance. It will increase the amount of control you have over your instrument. And it's also pretty meditative, so if you just look at your breathing, listen to your body, and just feel what's going on, you'll be able to get more in tune with yourself. And then specifically for the trumpeters in the room, Clark and Schlossberg are your friends. They're books. They're probably free PDFs online if you look in the right places. I recommend starting with those. This was one of the first selfies I took in 5th grade ISMA, right in my bedroom right after the state competition. You'll see the joy in my eyes, because this was before any of the silver medals came in and rained on my parade. So podium. So I've done a lot of work now conducting. It's been a new skill of mine. I work down with Maestro Schwartz, Gerard Schwartz. He was the first trumpet under Leonard Bernstein in the New York Philharmonic for many, many years, and now he's my conducting professor. I started, this is back after the Sycamore auction in kindergarten when I got the chance to conduct as a kindergartner, I believe. So that was the real start, and then now I'm conducting my own pieces. If you like conducting, I recommend waiting until you know how to read music, because you have to read everyone's part, and it's not always in the same key. But once you can do that, then you're set to really just feel music that's not even always your own. Writing music. This is the big one. Who's a composer here? Okay. Anybody else? Okay. A lot of iffies, but a lot of proud composers. I like to see it. Everybody who's iffy, you should raise your hand. Everybody who's not a composer should be a composer, or a writer. You can do whatever you feel is a good way to express yourself, but I recommend writing. Here are a couple of my tracks that I got a chance to do. If you have any questions about composing, I'll be happy to answer them. These are going to be a bunch of different styles. I'll only show you excerpts of some. So this is a big band piece I wrote. Here's one that I'm conducting my piece on. Skip around. Here's one. This is a movie score that I did a trailer for a couple years back.
So why did I leave? I did not want.
Blah, 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 blah. And then last but not least, this was the one that I did with Maria Schneider. What time did I say? 49, 20 minutes. And it goes on for like another 10 minutes. But, yeah. Now, I'm going to tell you briefly what the current practice guide is, and then you guys can apply it if you are musicians, and then right after, I'll take any questions you guys have. Currently, for violin, start the day off with scales. We do the flesh system mixed with my professor's trademark system. Following that, I go into my rep. I do about an hour on each piece that I can, sometimes breaking it down into 20-minute sections for each problem area that I have. And then finally, I have about 3 more hours of rehearsal each day that I have to do outside of that, but that's with ensembles. Trumpet, this is going to be the easy one. Trumpet, I start off mouthpiece warm-up, like the stamp warm-up, then I go into doing my long tones and flexibilities. That's the key if you want to get really high, really fast, a lot of control, flexibility work. And then I do my scale work, do my jazz work, and then I go to sleep. But that's it. So, any questions? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Two-part question. One, soundtracks, do you prefer the red violin or Schindler's List, and why? Second part is, when you go off and do your last year study, what kind of movie is your piece going to be to?
Okay. Personally, I understand that Schindler's List has one of the most beautiful pieces of all time. But having tried to play the red violin caprices, I have much more of an appreciation for that. They are ridiculous. I don't know if I can even try. There's this one, I tried to learn it at one point. It's like but it's crazy. That one I would say. How's Schindler's List go? Do you remember? How's it start? Oh. Yeah, red violin wins. Hopefully, I can score anything. I miss the mid-budget movies. I don't want to do blockbuster would be cool, but that seems egotistical to imagine I could just jump in. Oh, I'll do Disney. But I miss like the mid-budget, like Talented Mr. Ripley types, like any of those old Matt Damon type art films. Yeah, that's what I'd want to do. Yeah.
Like super like formulaic, like you have an idea and then you take like specific steps to get there, or is it more like vibe space, like you just kind of go into it and like do what you feel?
It really is a mix. The main thing that does happen is, and I recommend doing this yourself if you're a composer, I will get ideas at random times in the day. And so if you look at my phone, I've programmed it so that if I hit one button, I automatically can record whatever I'm thinking. So I get ideas all the time, especially away from the piano or in front of the piano. But once I do that, then I just sort of let it take me where it wants to take me. I find that I do have some formulas that work. Like if I pretty much any one of my songs, because I have big hands, a lot of my voicings sound pretty similar. I normally write in like big intervals on the bottom, so that's a formula I use. I like to do a lot of cool colors on top, like a lot of extensions. But yeah, it's also just the fun process of finding out where I'm gonna go with this song. But yeah, good question.
So I'm a singer and I like write my own songs, but I can't like write my own musical accompaniments. So what are the steps to learning how to compose? Like is it just something you compose for you?
Yeah. One thing I would do, so especially since you're working on accompaniments, what I would do is I'd study the main types of accompaniments that have been used throughout the past. Now, if we're looking at like Mozart, you're going to see Alberti bass, which is like that could get a little boring. But then you also have chordal accompaniments. So are you familiar with like how chords work? Okay. So the best way I would do then is just figure out, oh, this is what this chord progression is. And then once you figure out what the progression is, and if you need more help on me defining that, I'm happy to do that. But once you do that, then you can just work on finding cool patterns that the left hand could do. Like, I'll do the same chord. So that's Alberti. That's a waltz feel. That's a different pattern. Just do any pattern. And that's the fun part of writing. You just figure stuff out that you like. Mm-hmm. I went to Park Tudor. One thing that really helped me with my music at Park Tudor was my band director, Mr. Flowers, and I just had lunch with him yesterday, actually. That's the relationship that you have with the professional relationship that you have with your band director and your professors is one that really helps you because he was always looking for different opportunities that would help me grow. And he put me into the jazz band, he put me into the pep band. I was doing everything with him, so that's what really helped. Mm-hmm. Oh, no, it's you. No, you got it. In the coat. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I'll get to you right next.
Have you made any music with words?
I have. Yeah, I've done a couple. I did one called Hiraeth, which is like a Welsh word for like a deep longing for a homeland that you can't go back to. So I like to do like some poetry type stuff over my music. But yeah, I write with words too. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, no, it's you this time. Yeah.
Do you think, like, if you were to do high school again, that would be a different school you'd go to, like more music, or do you think Park Tudor, or do you either it's your bias is more you go to Park Tudor, that kind of would make you go again?
Yeah, I personally know I would pick Park Tudor, but the reason why isn't just because Park Tudor is the best school. No. The way it works is the only way I picked schools, well, since I can remember, I was a little too young for Sycamore to remember because I was 3 at that point. But for every other school I've gone to, I pick what feels like home when I get there. So if you like the feeling of Brebeuf, go to Brebeuf. If you like the feeling of university, go to university. It's just whatever makes you feel like you're going to have the most fun there. Yeah.
What's your favorite part about, like, music or being a musician in general?
I think it's connecting with, 1, the audience, 2, with all my musicians on stage, probably in the other order. I love playing music just because it feels, especially jazz, because it's such a collaborative process. So that's the best part. And you don't even necessarily need an audience for it, but it's cool seeing other people enjoy your music, because otherwise, like, why would you? Yeah. I did, yeah, he came to the show. Yeah. Are you in a symphony? Nice. What, do you play violin? Okay, nice. I heard you guys are playing Pavane right now, right? For the Carnegie trip? The Pavane for the Carnegie trip? Nice.
If I may, Bertie, 7th grade, first estate violin,
Okay.
first estate flute,
Wow.
8th grade year.
Wow, okay. Have you done any summer programs yet? Okay, I would recommend looking into the IU Summer String Academy. That one might be a really good pick for you. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, I don't think it's like a singer, but like singing or just any like instrumentalist, like high school beyond, like how do you like put yourself out there? How do you get yourself noticed? Because obviously music is a very, very competitive field. So it's also really hard to succeed at times too. Like how do you get yourself out there? And how do you get yourself noticed?
I think on the more personal level, connection-wise, that's been easy for me. I'm pretty good at talking to people. So sometimes my skill talks for itself, but I like to make connections, especially like with my dean. He knows me a lot. I invited him to my show. But also just being your true authentic self sometimes can bring in people who want to support your career. The thing that's hard for me personally is the social media aspect, because I know that's like the big thing for any musician or creative in the current market. So that's something I'm still figuring out. But once I do, I'll let you know. Yeah. Anybody else or? Oh.
Speaking of your talent showing, at one time Joshua Bell was found in the subways of New York playing the violin. Have you ever considered doing something like that just for fun?
I have gone busking a couple of times in Miami, and it makes me realize that if I don't succeed, I'm going to go into the restaurant industry. 'Cause yeah. Oh, yeah.
What's your favorite song that you or somebody else has composed?
Favorite song that somebody else composed would probably be, I guess it depends on the genre. The song I'm going to have to think on that one. I know for violin, I love the Shostakovich Violin Concerto a lot. I love the Sibelius Violin Concerto a lot. For pop stuff, I like a lot of like the Japanese house. She's great. They're great. And then for my own pieces, I'm most proud of my work on Maiden Voyage. And then my favorite one to play would probably be Maiden Voyage, actually. Yeah, I scratched that. Yeah.
Why do you need 2 full water bottles?
I'm just very thirsty, typically. Yeah. Sometimes even 3. Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else? Is that? Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Have you ever, like, in past years, felt like stagnated on a certain instrument, felt like you just didn't want to practice it, and if so, how did you deal with that?
So the cool thing for me is that since I have a couple of instruments, I'm able to sort of bounce around if something's feeling bad one day. I've had some periods where, like, I'm trying to practice my violin, and especially I was doing the introduction to Tarantella, and I was just trying to get the Tarantella down. And for weeks and weeks, it felt like I was stuck either with my technique or with other stuff. And when that happens, it does get very hard. You sort of feel like not that you're a failure, but it can kind of feel like it. When that happens, one thing that I recommend doing, and it's going to sound like an ego thing, but it's not, take a step back and realize that you have accomplished a lot, and you are capable of doing something like this, even if it's taking more time than you would like it to do. And then also, I would recommend going outside. It's going to sound kind of stupid, but going outside is actually something that does help a lot, because if you can reframe your focus and think, the world is a lot bigger than this one piece, you can make some more progress. Yeah. Oh.
So, as a seventh grader, so for time management, how do you do it?
Right. Yeah, no, and Sycamore works you a lot. I know from experience. And okay, my advice will be probably a bit skewed because I don't have the healthiest relationship with sleep. I enjoy working a lot more than I enjoy sleeping, because if I don't sleep, I can just do it another day, but if I don't work, then I'm going to get in trouble. So the way that I try to prioritize my work, especially when it comes to practicing, is having a clock readily available. And if I'm doing metronome work, I know like Metro Timer, one of the metronome apps, allows me to like see how much I'm spending on one specific action. So I schedule my day. If I write down, I'm eating breakfast from 6:15 to 6:18, and I start my work right after that, then I'm able to see, this is exactly where my time is going. Because if you don't know where it goes, then it's hard to know what needs to change. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Me for a third time, okay. Sorry. So, how did you deal with rejection and just kind of being turned down in your music field at times? I know that's a big part of progressing is something competitive in music and something that I've learned to deal with in kind of my musical journey.
Mm-hmm.
So how in rejection do you move on from that
So there are two approaches. One of the main things is to recognize, oh, it's not an attack on me personally. It's just like I might just not be the right fit for this. Or if it's a matter of like, oh, I wasn't ready enough, I just know I'm going to work twice as hard so that next year I'll be in there. That's really how it goes. Yeah.
So I guess this is kind of similar to the question you got, but do you ever I guess composer's block where you just can't find inspiration?
Yeah.
And if so, how do you deal with it?
Yeah. So the first song I sang on the concert, that happened to me for a long time. It was called Vienna. I wrote it, and I was stuck at the intro for weeks and weeks and weeks, because it was such a static idea. So I was playing that over and over. I was like, okay, this is stuck. And each time I tried a different idea, it just wouldn't go where I wanted it to go. So there are some techniques compositionally you can use, and then some techniques personally you can use. Compositionally wise, you can say, okay, and this is what people have been doing ever since Bach and long before, especially in Beethoven, you'll see it's the developmental techniques. You can take an idea, like let's say, if I have that idea, I can just put it in the opposite order, something like that. And then you can invert it, so the intervals won't be the exact same. So if I went down the opposite direction, it's like, that allows me to get new ideas to come through. I can do the same thing with, oh, this is a different harmony that works underneath the same melody. Like on the main voyage one, I would do, and so when I was stuck, I was like, okay, I'll just take those two notes. And I found every chord that I liked that could work with it. What did I do? So that's really how I go through it. Yeah. I think I saw another hand. Oh.
We have just a few minutes left.
Yeah.
You want to play one last thing that's maybe a favorite of yours on the trumpet, violin, or piano?
Okay. Let me see. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, the hard thing is just without the accompaniment. Let me see what I can do. All three same time. Which instrument would you guys want to hear? Trumpet? Okay. I heard the trumpet first, and I already got it out. Mr. Sheffield? Wow, big round of applause. Hi, Mr. Sheffield. Yeah, Devonka's Robbie, you'll never guess. Right. Really? What'd you play? Okay. Yeah. Okay, let me see. Well, it's weird not having anything behind me. I'll play one for Indiana. Well, thank you guys for coming out. I don't think, if there are more questions, you can talk to me, but I think that's it.